I'm back here again, guys. Welcome to another tutorial, and this time I'm going to be covering anatomy and dynamic poses. I know that this might seem daunting and a little bit challenging, but trust me, just follow my instructions and you'll be able to conquer this. Now remember my previous videos when I was talking about the basics of human anatomy, how you can break the body part of a man and a woman into simple shapes such as squares, circles, cylinders, and such. So just have that kind of approach when drawing human anatomy in different angles and position and poses. Just do that. And one thing that I always include in any of my tutorials is to use references. And use Google for reference, Pinterest for references. This is really going to help you out. And a way to conquer anatomy is to practice drawing cylinders, squares, cylinders, squares, and circles. Practice drawing that because those are the fundamental shapes of the human body. And once you do this, it gets easier. It takes steps. It's like practicing. It's like working out. You have to start with the easy workouts, then you move on. When you get comfortable, you move on to the next level. That's how anatomy is. Drawing anatomy is a skill. It's not something that you just know how to do off the jump. See, I've always been able to draw since I was a kid, as long as I could remember, but I was never able to draw anatomy from the top of my head. Why? Because I didn't practice as much. It was when I started to practice and draw simple shapes, that was when I got better in anatomy. And I drew every single day. Even if I skip a day of drawing, I would still read about drawing, look at shapes, observe life. You understand? Because you would want to take your time doing this. You don't want to rush it, but you have to have the eagerness and the patience to learn anatomy. And if you don't get it the first time, the second time, the third time, even the 100th time, don't worry about it. Just keep on practicing. And another thing to keep in mind is foreshortening. Foreshortening is when, let's say that you're shooting a video, right? And the closer an object is to the camera, the larger it is. And the farther the object is to the camera, the smaller it is. And that's foreshortening. Foreshortening is the illusion of 3D space. And a lot of artists use foreshortening to create dynamic, illustrations, to make illustrations look really, really dynamic. And foreshortening is a great way of catching the viewer's eye to engage in the story or the illustration or the animation that is being created by the creator. So another thing to keep in mind is the male anatomy and the female anatomy. Because a male's body is actually much more muscular, angular, and rigid, while a female is very, very round, smoother lines, soft, smaller, and less muscular. You understand? Women are much more curvy. They have a bigger waist, curvier body than men. So there are basically three major, steps, three major levels when it comes to mastering and conquering anatomy. The first step is to master body positioning by using stick figures. If you check out previous videos, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. And the second stage is where you actually use shapes such as squares, cylinders, circles, to block out, the shape of the body. And the third stage of conquering anatomy is to actually draw the body parts. Is to actually block them out with using the shapes such as the squares, the cylinders, the circles as well. So these are the stages. These are the stages, and you don't want to rush these stages because you want to take your time to master each step. And even professionals still do this. The best artists in the world, the best comic artists, manga artists, painter, anyone, all of these artists still use these steps because they work every single time. They always go back to the basics, and that's basically the key to being a good artist. Always going back to the basics and using the basics to make sure that they don't slack, they don't get rusty. And just follow this advice and you will definitely be able to conquer anatomy. You would. And that's it for this tutorial. I'll be back with another one. Peace.